Good evening. This is the May 15th, 2025 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The time is 6 o'clock sharp, and our first order of business is to review the cases in pre-session. We'll review into regular session at 6:30. Okay, are we good to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the time is 6:01, and we are in pre-session to review the cases. I'll start with the roll call. I'm Edmund Haas, chair of the commission. We'll go down here. Commission members, Vice Chair Sue Blankenship.
Present.
Okay, Kent Haefman is away in California. Ed, I got an email from him. He's on the way. He's going to be a little bit late. Cindy Bishop.
Here.
Hi, Cindy.
Hey.
Freddie Guerra.
Here.
Howdy. And welcome to our newest member, John Dobmeyer?
Dobmeyer.
Dobmeyer, okay. Short, okay.
We had this conversation before you sat down.
Okay, all right. Okay, so with that, I'll turn it over to Mary
still
Colleen
messed up
Boswell
'cause you said it
to
now.
introduce staff and review the cases, or case.
Cases. They're kind of related, so. We have Mr. Matt Steer, Development Services Administrator. Mr. Cole Baker, EIT. For now. Mr. Bob Hager, City Attorney. And Ms. Cammie McGee, our Board Secretary. All right, so there's two items on your agenda tonight, both related. The first is a site plan for O'Neill Painting Office Warehouse. So it's located south of Sandy Lake on Freeport Parkway. Essentially, what they're looking to do is build a 10,080 square foot office warehouse building. They're gonna have, it's a one-story building. It'll have 24 parking spaces. They need 21. Fire lane that goes all the way around the building. You'll see that the building's constructed in the first half, or the closer to Freeport Parkway, and the rear portion is going to be left in a natural state. So to the north and to the east is a residential subdivision existing. To the north, there's a couple houses, and then there's like an HOA lot, and then to the east there's the back of the houses and an alley that goes north to south. So they're looking to, they're gonna have a loading area, dumpster, kind of typical things, 2 roll-up doors in the back. According to them, the majority of their product gets brought to their locations wherever they're doing their jobs. So this is more of, specialty things or stuff that's left over, kind of thing. So there will be no like 18-wheelers accessing the site, if that's one of your questions. And this is tied to the second item, which is the plat. Because this property is kind of weird shaped. It's kind of an L, like a upside down, inverted mirror L shape. So the majority of the functioning property is up at the front, and there's going to be 2 lots. In order to get access to the back lot, there's going to be an access easement through the rear of this to get to the back lot.
How does that work? Do they build it, not build it? Do they?
Not build it until...
Because all those trees are in the way. I mean, all the trees that they're trying to save in the first half and platting and moving the building to the front takes out the trees in the drive lane.
Yeah, so it's there on paper, and then if that lot gets developed, then we'll have to go through that process of...
So why are they platting it into 2 lots if they don't have to?
So they're only looking to develop this top portion over here. And at some point that rear lot may end up getting, it may get built into the other lot that's in front of it. So really, they're looking to plat, or to plat 2 lots and develop just the top half.
Okay.
So-
They need to sell it off to the adjacent property.
I heard that.
That's kind of the plan.
Yeah. So there is a couple variances to the plat that are being requested. One is for the median opening, because typically you have to have a median opening, but there's already 2 median openings. If you add another median opening, then there's distance requirements for driveway spacing. So there's always something that will have to be requested. So this way, they're not gonna have a new median opening, they're just gonna use what's already there. And there's low traffic for this site. There's not a lot of employees projected for this site, so,
So it'll just be right in, right out.
yeah.
Mhm.
Unless
Well,
that's
they
some,
keep fussing about, we can't get into our site.
So I'm trying to envision where this is. I know where Mitsubishi is right now, and I know there's a large development that's happening somewhere near there.
Mitsubishi. You know, this is like south
South.
Freeport, so south of Sandy Lake,
I'll show you that map again.
closer to the cemetery.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
The cemetery is,
So they're already moving on that side?
Cemetery's right
Oh,
here.
The cemetery?
and this is, I think, is under construction right now.
right. And then this is a
They're doing-
SFS. Well, yeah, it says Mitsubishi, but this is, what was SFS? And then, yeah, so it's just north of
This
there.
piece right here. Okay. Making sure I have it right.
And then the other one is to allow
Yeah.
the access through the access easement for that back lot. Because we think at some point in time, that'll get redeveloped into a different lot. In terms of the landscaping, it's gonna be about 49% landscaped, because, like I said, half of the back is gonna remain as it is. The front half is gonna have additional landscaping put on it. And they're paying about $74,750 in tree mitigation fees.
And for the record, Ed Maher is here at the pre-session now.
Ed Mauer
607.
present, ready to serve.
Meet our newest member, John Meyer.
Ah, nice to meet you.
So like I said, it's a 1-story building. They're gonna have offices in the front, break room, bathroom, conference room. It's about 22 feet in height and has a nice little elevation or rendering that you can look at.
And they have garage doors in the back. What are gonna be their hours of operation? Typical hours, 8 to 5?
I don't know, I would assume so, but that's something you can ask them.
Have the residents raised any concern about across the way? I know it's kind of far, but
Pretty good buffer there now.
Actually, they bump right up against it, a bunch behind them.
Right, but the majority of, like I said, is gonna
That's
be
what opens
left in a
easement.
natural state, so.
For now, right? But aren't you saying they're probably gonna sell it? Or
Well, there's-
redevelop it?
Well, once we
Or
get to,
like
once we get to the plat, I'll,
Yeah, I'm having trouble
I'll explain a
picturing
little bit
that.
more.
Thank you.
Yeah, so they plan on leaving what's in the rear of them as is for now, cause all they need is their building. But I'll get to your question. So we are recommending approval,
The lot 2's over here.
essentially,
Okay.
And the president.
the typical conditions in terms of, there might be more comments during site plan or engineering review. They didn't provide any signage, so typical signage will have to meet ordinance requirements. Once they get their building permit, they'll have to provide lighting. But essentially, they're looking to just do wall packs on the back of the building. Tree removal permit will be required. Masonry screening wall is gonna have to be in place before the building can go vertical. That's on the north and the eastern sides. And they just need to update the fire lane with the distance and bearings on the plans. And we are asking them to provide, because that eastern screening wall, they're bumping it up a few feet so as to kind of save the trees as well as provide the people that back up so they won't be hitting the wall. So they're gonna we're asking them to put some gravel down so that it's easier maintenance.
Any details on the lighting cutoff wise?
So they'll do that with building permits,
Okay.
but I don't see a problem since it's quite a distance away from any residential and they're doing wall packs, and they'll have to have shielded anyway. So I'm gonna go through the plat too, and then if you have more questions, we can kind of take it from there. So Cindy, here's kind of, this is where the building's going here. And so there's a long piece down here that really doesn't do
I
anything
gotcha,
for them.
right, so that part is lot 2.
And that part's lot 2.
Gotcha.
And there's a lot of I think there's some floodplain and stuff down in here. So it's really not something that they plan on using, because then they would have to come and drive all the way down
Right.
here. So there's the possibility that when this part gets developed, that they may try to sell that to them, or it would just remain in a natural state. But if this ever does get developed, the same thing, they would have to build, a screening wall down here, and, that's why we were talking about having access to get back here, if they decided to use it. If not, same thing here. This would probably be abandoned, and then they'd have access just straight across.
So if they decided to use it and they used that access easement and they had to take down the trees, is it another tree permit? Because it's then not on their property, it's on somebody else's property, it's just a public access easement.
Well, you still need a tree removal
asking.
permit,
Okay.
and we go through the whole tree mitigation and everything else.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
Is there any concern that the other lot may not want to buy that, and then you have a landlocked lot back there?
that's why there's the access easement.
Okay.
Yeah,
But it won't have frontage if they sell it off to a third party.
but that's why we have the access easement, and it's built in that way.
Okay.
How big is that lot, Mary? Could it even be
It's about an
sold?
acre,
It's about this.
Yeah.
because it's 1.8 acre, it's 2.8 altogether. The top one is about 1.8, and the bottom one's about 1-ish.
Could someone put a residential back there and?
It's light industrial.
Okay.
Just zoning.
It's
They're
also-
zoning it right now.
I didn't think of this before, it's adjacent to the alley,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it
It
is
has
right up
direct
against the alley.
frontage on that out.
Alley's on the street.
Yeah, it's not dedicated.
We see a lot of crazy residential applications, that's why I'm asking.
no, because it's light industrial where this building is. This is light industrial, the property in front of it's light industrial, the property south of it's light industrial. And
Is this
future
little
land
thing
use
right
map
here
shows
in
light
the middle, is
industrial.
that light industrial also?
Yes,
Wow,
even
it's
though
like a
there-
house.
it is a house, but it's light industrial.
Okay.
House is non-conforming,
Yeah.
Is it an occupied house?
maybe illegally.
I believe that person is no longer here,
Yeah, Joe Ferdinand
That he passed away.
passed away
so,
a long back, and so they're about to have their water discontinued because we don't have, whoever's living there doesn't have an account. So the water's gonna be cut off. I think it's caretaker or.
so there is an even greater potential that it'll be redeveloped or sold off or what have you.
Could they just convert that to residential since it's a house?
No,
They can't make that application from that property?
you could apply, it doesn't conform to what our
Yeah.
requirements are or what our land use map shows.
That's what I was asking John, because we get weird requests of residential and commercial properties right along 121. and-
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just envisioning somebody saying, hey, this is a great piece of property because it's got a great backyard. I can convert this to residential, buy all that, and now I got a great backyard.
Anyone can ask anything,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it doesn't comply with our future land use plan, so
Okay.
we would not support it,
Okay.
because we get
Or
people.
the zoning ordinance, right?
Or the zoning ordinance, so we get people asking us all kinds of things every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I've heard instances before where they asked for some kind of grandfathering, and as a result, that was.
Yeah.
It's a non-conforming use. I mean, if someone, now, if it can lose that non-conformity and this 2149 gets passed by the legislature.
So
Is that,
there's,
is that a concern, if that bill passes
Yeah.
on this application?
Not on
Not
this
this
one. Not this
application,
one.
but it is concerning.
Okay.
so in every city you go to, there's zonings that don't necessarily conform with what's on the property. A lot of it is like older areas of town that, you know, start out as residential, then people wanna, they convert it to some kind of commercial, and then it just doesn't develop, or it's a, you know, stagnated kind of development process. So that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions, any more questions on this one?
I don't. Commission?
Nope. Yes, sir.
So, update on city council items. This last meeting, Lake Breeze item was scheduled, and it was withdrawn from the applicant. So, that didn't go forward. And then, did you have anything on the
Mhm.
agenda? Yeah, that's it.
Our text change amendments went
Ordinance?
through. Yeah, our text change amendments were all passed. We had one that was kind of a holdover map that the commission had approved a long time ago, back in February or something like that, and we finally brought it forward. That passed through last time.
Right, yeah, so I don't know if I've reported back to you guys on that yet. I thought I had, but the parking amendments and the definitions and all that, that all was passed by council. So, all the ordinances are signed and done.
Well done, sir, well done.
Well done to you.
So then this is operating
Commission.
under the new parking for light industrial?
They've got an office. This
Yeah.
is more of
This is
an
more,
office.
this is more
Yeah,
office warehouse.
okay.
It's very small.
Not light industrial, okay.
They meet the requirements.
Okay.
It's like, they need 21 spaces, they got 24. And it accommodates for if they have to take out those 3 for the little access easement, so they're still in compliance. That's all I got.
Anything on comp plan or anything for the group, or the meetings?
Do we expect the applicant to be here?
Yes.
Okay, you may want to ask them, since they're a commercial painter, I would assume they stage in the morning, year, or what they expect to arrive.
There was
Didn't we have
a,
some-
there, wasn't there a note in the,
Yeah,
yeah, in the
Yeah.
staff report that stated a lot of those times?
Yeah, with the superintendents, yeah.
Superintendent's got the 2:30 to 3:30 or something.
yeah, so a lot of their crews just go out straight to the site, and
Yeah.
all the paints get delivered straight to the site. Just if they get some, I think, some specialty orders, if they have some stuff that's left over. Yeah, 6 office employees, 3 superintendents.
Seemed like on that other light industrial case there by the cemetery, there was some concerns about operations, trucks backing up, and there's always all that.
Yeah, and this is straight site plan, so it's not like a
It's not
public
a people.
hearing, didn't require notification. They're meeting all of our ordinance requirements, so.
That's it.
Okay. Well, the time is 6:18. We got 12 minutes to relax and gear up.
And eat snacks. Yeah, and snack.
Go.
Pretty good.
I'm using the verb to snack.
Okay, so who had to go shop for snacks? Well done.
Who was
Yeah, well
told?
No, she does it on her own, you know?
Okay, the time is 6:30, and the Planning and Zoning Commission is now convening into regular session. We met beforehand to review the cases. All of the commission members except Commissioner Hafman are present. With that, I'll move to item 4, citizens' appearance. Cammie, did anybody sign up? No one signed up. We'll move on to item 5, approval of the minutes of our March 20th meeting. Are there any comments by the commission, or is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the minutes of March 20th Planning and Zoning minutes as written.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Marr. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Vice Chair Blankenship. Cammie, would you call the roll, please?
Please respond by saying aye or nay as I call your name. Vice Chair Blankenship.
Aye.
Commissioner Guerra.
Aye.
Chairman Haas.
Aye.
Commissioner Mauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Hafman. I'm sorry, Commissioner Bishop.
Aye.
And Commissioner Dobmeyer. Sorry.
Okay,
All approved, none opposed, motion carries.
very good. Item 6 on the agenda is the O'Neill Paintings Office/Warehouse Site Plan. This is to consider approval of O'Neill Painting Office/Warehouse Site Plan, Lot 1, Block A, that being the O'Neill Painting Addition, a request to allow the construction of a 10,080 square foot office warehouse use on 1.809 acres of property located on the east side of South Freeport Parkway, approximately 1,350 feet south of West Sandy Lake Road, and being represented by Greg Franca of GPF Architects at the request of Justin O'Neill, the property owner. We have a staff presentation by Miss Mary Prone Boswell. Mary?
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Item 6 is O'Neill Painting Office Warehouse site plan. So what is being proposed is to construct a 10,800 square foot, one-story building on approximately 1.8 acres of property. They're providing, the site plan provided shows that the building is situated towards the front of the lot, leaving the rear in its natural state and preserving the trees found therein. So they are providing 24 parking spaces, which exceeds the ordinance requirements. They're required to have 21. There's a fire lane proposed to go around the entire building, as well as mutual access easement that encircles the building. Loading areas provided, and a dumpster at the rear as well. The site plan shows that the northern and eastern boundaries of the site border residential zoning. As such, a 6-foot masonry screening wall is proposed to be constructed in this area, outlined or designated by the purple. Staff is recommending that the gravel be placed towards on the east side of that screening wall because the wall is proposed to be slightly offset from the property line. So they do plan on using the driveway off the front of Freeport, and they are requesting a variance to the subdivision ordinance section 13-8-3A18D, which states that all non-residential lots be divided on a divided thoroughfare shall have direct or indirect access to a median opening. Staff is in support of this variance request because of a relatively minor traffic generation of this development. Additionally, there is not a median opening for the existing driveway, and a new median opening would require a variance to the separation requirements. And these are variances to the plat. The applicant is also requesting a variance to section 13-8-3D3 of the subdivision ordinance, requires that all lots be adjacent to a dedicated street. The site is meeting the spirit of the ordinance by providing access easement through Lot 1 to create access for Lot 2 at the rear of the property, designated through the the orange color. So in terms of landscaping, about 49% of the site is landscaped. As I mentioned before, the back half is to remain in its natural state. They're going to provide 22 overstory trees, and they will also be paying about $74,750 in tree mitigation. So this is just a floor plan that shows multiple offices for their staff, a break room, conference room, wellness area, and approximately half the building will be for storage of materials. That's to the rear. According to the applicant, there are about 6 office employees and 3 superintendents. The office employees come and go throughout the day, and the superintendents come in around 2:30 and leave around 3:30. And here we have a rendering of what the building is proposed to look like. Said it's going to be up 22 feet in height with the main entrance centered on the building. Front facade has vertically oriented windows, canopies over them and over the front entrance. Overflow scuppers located near the top of the building. Building will be concrete with painted walls and accent textures and colors. 2 aluminum roll-up doors at the rear of the building, and lighting for the site will consist of wall packs positioned on the building. Lighting information will be provided and will include shielding and will be reviewed at the time of building permit. There was no signage proposed with this application, so signage will need to comply with ordinance requirements. And here's just the material board of the colors that they're looking to use. So staff is recommending approval of Lot 1, Block A, O'Neill Painting Site Plan. Sorry for the misspelling there. Subject to the following conditions. 1, that there will be additional comments at the time of detailed engineering review and building permit. 2, that signage shall comply with the sign ordinance. 3, that the submission and location and type of lighting facilities, security lighting, screening, and glare shades will be required at the time of building permit to ensure compliance with glare and lighting ordinance requirements. 4, a tree removal permit is required prior to the removal of any trees. 5, the masonry screening wall must be in place before the building goes vertical. 6, to update the plans to show the fire lane with distance and bearings and fence tie-in. And then we did add one more, which we discussed in the presentation, was to add gravel to the east side of the screening wall along the alley. That is the end of my presentation. The applicant's representative is here as well to answer any questions. This is not a public hearing, and this is a site plan approval.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mary. Any questions of staff by the commission? Okay. I did have a question regarding just hours of operation, just generally.
Good evening, Greg Rucky, GPF Architects, 71 Circle, Coppell. They're roughly 8 to 5 operation, 5 days a week,
Yeah.
if that much.
Okay.
So
We had in one of a similar case not too long ago in that area, the residents were, that was a concern.
they're a very
so-
low-key operator.
Okay. Any questions of the commission of the applicant? Okay, thank you much. All right, any discussion by the commission, or is there a motion?
I would like to make a motion for the approval of O'Neill Painting Office Warehouse Site Plan, Lot 1, Block A, O'Neill Planning Edition,
With the staff conditions?
with staff conditions. Just-
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Guerra. Thank you, Freddie. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Blankenship. Cammie, would you call the roll, please?
Please respond by saying aye or nay as I call your name. Commissioner Donmeyer,
Aye.
Commissioner Guerra,
Aye.
Vice Chair Blankenship,
Aye.
Chairman Haas,
Aye.
Commissioner Mauer,
Aye.
and Commissioner Bishop.
Aye.
All approved, none opposed, motion carries.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Okay, item 8 on the agenda. Mary? I'm sorry, geez.
Item 7?
Yeah, my bad.
That's okay.
I just want to go too fast here. Item 7, the O'Neill Painting Edition minor plat. Consider approval of the O'Neill Painting Edition lots 1 and 2, Block A minor plat. A request to establish 2 lots of record, adding associated easements and fire lanes as requested on 2.808 acres located on the east side of South Freeport Parkway, approximately 1,350 feet south of West Sandy Lake Road, being represented by Greg Franco, GPF Architects, and at the request of Justin O'Neill, the property owner. We have a presentation by staff member Mary Perron Boswell. Mary?
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. So this is a companion request to the item that we just heard. The plat will take the existing 2 parcels of land and create 2 lots totaling 2.808 acres, and the 2 lots are outlined in red. So Lot 1 has a site plan for the 10,880 square foot office warehouse building. Lot 2 has no plans for development at this time, so the plat shows the proposed fire lane there in the red. There are 2 variances being requested, as we discussed in the earlier case. First is to section 13-8-3.A.18.D, which states that all non-residential lots on a divided thoroughfare shall have direct or indirect access to a median opening. As mentioned before, engineering staff did look at this and is in support of the variance request because of the relatively minor traffic generation of this development. Additionally, there's not a median opening for the existing driveway, and a new median opening would require variance to the separation requirements. Also, the applicant is requesting a variance to section 13-8-3.D.3 of the subdivision ordinance that requires all lots to be adjacent to a dedicated street. The site is meeting the spirit of the ordinance by providing an access easement through Lot 1 to create access for Lot 2, which is at the rear of the property. There's also the possibility that Lot 2 would be replatted into the larger LI zone parcels to the west of it. So there's the mutual access and utility easement. So staff is recommending approval of O'Neill Painting Addition, lots 1 and 2, Block A, minor plat, subject to the following conditions. 1, that additional comments may be generated upon detailed engineering permit reviews. 2, approval of variance to section 13-8-3.A.18.D, a lot of points. 3, approval of a variance to section 13-8-3.D.3, and to update the plat to show the fire lane with distance and bearings. And that's the end of my presentation. And if you have any questions.
Very good. Thank you, Mary. Any questions of staff by the commission? Any question of the applicant by the commission? Okay. Any final oops, sorry.
Yes, I have a question on it. Mary, in terms of I was looking at the setbacks on the other property. So it's a 50-foot setback, building setback.
Yes.
And so if the 24 aisle mutual easement it continues all the way down, that's going to be the building footprint's going to be fairly small.
Yeah, I think we discussed it earlier in work session, that the idea is that there's a potential that this lot 2 may be incorporated at some future point with the lots to the west of it that front onto the street, which kind of makes more sense. But we did provide the access in case they did need to use it for some reason.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions of staff? Any final discussion? Is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve O'Neill Painting Addition, lots 1 and 2, Block A, minor plat, subject to staff conditions.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Maurer. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Bishop. Tammy, would you call the roll, please?
Please respond by saying aye or ayes. I call your name. Commissioner Dobmeyer,
Aye.
Commissioner Guerra,
Aye.
Vice Chair Blankenship,
Aye.
Chairman Haas,
Aye.
Commissioner Maurer,
Aye.
and Commissioner Bishop.
Aye.
All approved, none opposed, motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 8 on the agenda is the update on council actions. Mary? We reviewed them in pre-session, and so I think we're good there. I think the only other thing prior to adjournment is to welcome our new commission member, Mr. Dobmeyer. So welcome aboard, John. Looking forward to working with you. So with that, item 9 is adjournment. The time is 6:44, and this meeting is adjourned.